All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric, here. Just to kind of reiterate what we talked about. First segment, we talked about our WWE Monday Night Raw review. We talked about WWE NXT preview. And the segment 3 and 4, we talked about we're trying to crown the Ultimate King of the Ring winner in terms of historical facts, in terms of how their career ended up, and just, how great they were in terms of cementing their legacy in terms of WWE. So all right. And to kind of finish off the show here, segment 5, we're going to go ahead and talk about our Tuesdays today in wrestling history. So let's go ahead and dig on into it, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So we're going to start off with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Today in WWE, history in 2021 on a live edition of WWE SmackDown in the Thunderdome in Tampa Bay, Florida. A new women's tag team champions were crowned as Natalya and Tamina defeated Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Kind of crazy. I love this photo because both of these champions were absolutely dominant, but they couldn't do what it took to hold on to the championship. So if you're looking at this photo right now and you're like, "Hey man, did this guy get this wrong? Did this guy read it the other way around that Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler won on this match?" You betcha. I'm just kidding. No, definitely kind of crazy how this kind of winded up. But my bad. I kind of read it wrong. You know what I mean? But so Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler lose it to Natalia and Tamina. Too bad, so sad. Can't wait to put a picture of them up on on this. We'll give them a tribute next week. All right, guys. So don't get off my ass. Uh, I had finals today. How dare you? You know what? I'm going. I'm taking my licorice. I'm taking my WWE championship home. I'm just kidding. No. Just okay. So in 1998, ECW presented at an event titled "Ain't Seinfeld" from the Elks Lodge in Queens, New York. So Taz ultimately came in introducing the FTW Championship, stating that it's like a self-proclaimed championship, which is crazy because his son held this championship for such a long time in AEW until he was dethroned in AEW Dynasty against Chris Jericho. Kind of holds a little more, kind of a little more prestige to that. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, Taz came out proclaiming himself as the FTW champion. So honestly, hey, good for Taz. Like, screw it. Like, why not? So today in WWE in wrestling history, we had at ECW Hardcore Heaven from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Just Incredible retained the ECW World Heavyweight Championship against former Impact player partner Lance Storm in the main event. This was Storm's last ECW match before he left the ECW. Rhino also retained his ECW World TV Championship against the Sandman, and we also had Jerry Lynn pinned Rob Van Dam, Kid Cash, defeating CW Anderson. Yashiruri Tajiri beat Steve Carino, and just it was a good match. It was a good pay-per-view. Loved DCW. Well, for what I've gotten to taste. I remember my family had a subscription to magazines, and we would get Raw, SmackDown, and EC. No. I don't think the brand split was happening at that time. So I think we would get one WWF, and I think we'd get oh man, what's that wrestling magazine? It's gonna bother me all night. I'll figure it out and I'll let you guys know. But ultimately, it was a good match. ECW was at this point kind of on its last limb. Kind of, in 2000, you kind of knew that it was, times were kind of ending. Paul Heyman ultimately said in an interview that although ECW went under, you can bet your ass that um, or what did he say? You can suck my just no, but he's pretty strong about how ECW was. Love that about Paul Heyman. Love that he didn't let down his guys. Still to this day, he thinks ECW is the best wrestling promotion in the professional wrestling industry. So good for Paul Heyman. Good for Paul Heyman. So next we have in 2005 in the main event at Ring of Honor, Nowhere to Run from Chicago, Illinois. We had CM Punk defeating Jimmy Rave to end their feud in a steel cage match. Also, Austin Aries retained the Ring of Honor World Championship against Bryan Danielson. Matt Sydal defeated Ace Steel, Matt Striker, and the Massive Green Bay Superstar. defeated Colt Cabana. Homicide picked up a victory against Doug Williams. And it was actually, we had Roderick Strong and Jack Evans beat Alex Shelley and Delirious in the tag team match. So that, that was pretty 2005. That's crazy. Like you hear all these WWE stars from WWE NXT. Now they're kind of moving toward like more of an AEW kind of, kind of sector. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. That makes you think. Honestly, that definitely makes me think that you hear all these names and you're like, you know what? These are guys that weren't afraid to kind of go to AEW. They weren't afraid to go to Ring of Honor. They weren't afraid to go to New Japan Professional Wrestling. And just makes you think that WWE has nothing but homegrown stars. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not saying that's bad. I think it's a good thing ultimately for their success. But I don't know. You kind of notice that right now. I think that's, kind of crazy how, you're not afraid to kind of dip into something that's ambiguous because you've kind of been in that industry before, like CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Rhino. You saw Roderick Strong. These guys weren't afraid to go to AEW once when WWE was kind of turning to crap with Vince McMahon kind of on the helm there. So yeah, and lastly, Christian Cage retained the WNBA WNBA, the NWA World Heavyweight title against the Monster Abyss in a steel cage match and a full metal mayhem match in the main event at TNA Sacrifice in Orlando. So once again, this was kind of like when Christian Cage left the WWE, left the WWF, seeking more like as a singles competitor. They were pushing Edge at the moment, so I think Edge's contract was renewed. Christian's wasn't. So he came out with the TNA, made a name for himself, and he did really, really good. So definitely proud of Christian. Definitely love the way that kind of all ended up. So yeah, you honestly can't help but to respect. Sometimes, although some of these wrestling superstars take a break from WWE, or they try to find success elsewhere. Like right now, you kind of have Christian Cage against Swerve Strickland in this match at Double or Nothing. And it's going to be a great match. It's going to be a great match. These superstars have been all over the world. Definitely love it. Honestly, if they're still on WWE, they're probably still getting those bad bookings, those shit talkie mushroom matches that you're kind of looking at and you're like, these guys kind of deserve better. So ultimately, sometimes you got to pick up your balls and leave, man. I'm sorry. It's for the best. Absolutely for the best. You're kind of doing some really great things here in terms of, AEW. So, happy for Christian Cage. Loved him with Edge and Christian, but ultimately sometimes things don't just pan out. So yeah, guys, hope you guys really honestly like my show. Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show and leave a positive review here at the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast and the GSMC Sports Network. We love peace, love, and positivity all the way, and it really does make a difference, guys. It really does make a difference. We need you guys, our audience. You're part of our family too. You guys are absolutely killing it. I love seeing the numbers on YouTube. I love seeing the numbers on our multiple, audio streaming server. Like, thank you guys so much. From the bottom of my heart, from the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, I want to thank you guys. Absolutely. Hope you're having a good midweek. Definitely. We also invite you guys to follow us on Facebook, Twitter/X, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. And like I said before, if I haven't made you a wrestling fan by now, we have NBA heating up with Nelson. Football's always hot with Kenneth. I have breaking news that Tom Brady is going to return to the New England Patriots and play for a season in the next upcoming NFL season. I'm just kidding. But those are the headlines you can hear. Those are the headlines you can hear on Kenneth's podcast. So make sure you tune into that football podcast. Get all the cool factoids. Be up to date with all your football stuff. We have Hoops and Heels, all things your one-stop shop for women's sports with Samantha. We have the Andrew Tate Show. We also have sports with Jeremy. We also have TJ. We have Manny. It just goes on and on, guys. Like, be a part of our GSMC sports bloodline, and we can absolutely kill it together. So gotta bid you adieu. But stay tuned. Watch me tomorrow. I'll be on the same time, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to stay up, if you just gotta just got done hanging out with some bros and it's 11 o'clock and you're like, oh man, I'm looking for something to watch while I'm trouncing this Del Taco or McDonald's, just gonna, no, and you'd be like, turn on the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. Who knows? I might make you the best wrestling fan in the world. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not kidding because I'm that damn good. I'm the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Bret Hart. If you guys didn't understand that reference, y'all should get out of here. I'm just kidding. No. So thank you once again for tuning into my show. And hey, have a phenomenal night. Sleep well.